Hey folks, welcome back to another really quick bite-sized bluegrass guitar lesson. We're working out of the key of G today, or a G position, or just out of a G chord to make it super simple. And if you notice there at the beginning, I played my G chord two different ways, and there's a reason for that. Alright, so let's dig into what I'm doing here. This is an important slide in the world of bluegrass music. It's important if you're learning it to make it sound full, and that you're letting notes ring out together. Okay, so let's just figure out what's going on. So I'm starting off with this style of G chord. I'm not going to go into the specific name because bluegrassers generally don't worry about that sort of thing. But this is what I call like the real full sounding, or what I think of as like the real full sounding G chord in the bluegrass realm, okay? Now what I want to do is put my second finger on that G string. This is like the motion that I'm going towards. Second finger G string. All right, I'm going to be sliding to the 4th fret, but I'm also going to be dragging my index finger along with it, all right? And that index finger is going to be on the B string, just like that, all right? Now you can play it without that finger on the B string, and you're going to still get a wanted effect, okay? Now let me talk for a second about what's happening on that slide, all right? 3rd fret of your G string is a special note when we're playing out of the G position, aka the key of G, aka using G, C, and D as our main sort of driving chords in a song, which is, for the most part, all of bluegrass music. But anyway, like I said, that 3rd fret on our G string is a special note. That's a B flat note, and that's going to give us a lot of bluegrass real estate when we use that note or when we travel over that note with a slide, all right? Now, you may have heard this lick before as well in the bluegrass realm. Alright? That note that we slide over in that classic G run, that is also sliding over a B flat note. It's just in a lower register, okay? So that is sort of the makeup of what makes this sound grassy, is a sliding over that B flat note, and more, specifically letting these notes ring out together. That's really important if you're learning this style of music. You're not going to get the full effect unless you focus, or unless your mind sort of dialed in to letting notes ring out together. And why that's hard is that our fingers have a tendency to hit extra strings and deaden the sound that we want, especially when it comes to soloing on an acoustic instrument. That's sort of what makes bluegrass really hard, in my opinion, to get going on. All right, but that is the sound that you're looking for. All right, and I'm coming out of a G shape there, the one I just spoke about. And the idea here is you want to sort of practice this while making this transition smooth, or as smooth as you can make it, all right? Because just like that, getting ahead of myself a bit. Okay, so after I've made that slide and everything's ringing out, this next part happens super fast, okay? So you're gonna go down pick on your G string, up pick on your B string, or if you've started the sequence differently, those will be opposite. Just make sure you're alternating between up and down. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back, traveling back over that B flat, sort of the same motion as where I came from, but I'm gonna do it like this. Listen closely. Okay. So there's a pull-off that happens really fast, sort of as I'm coming off of the 2nd fret, as I'm finishing up that, traveling over that distance back to the 2nd fret, over that 3rd fret special B flat, okay? Okay, now that's sort of finishes a lick, but do not think this lesson's over. There's a lot of nuances you have to understand and take away to make this sound really clean, okay? Now, I'm ending on this G chord, all right? Again, I'm not going to get into names. I think that just confuses everybody. But when you're watching this style of music on YouTube, or if you're trying to learn, or if you're just interested in figuring out what we're doing, the way that I use these different style of G chords is just depending on where I'm coming to or going, or where I'm coming from and going to. With this style G chord, I'm already at my home bases, and what I mean by home bases are where my fingers are on that initial slide. They're already sort of locked into place. Okay, so the lick, or the exercise, whatever you want to call it, goes like that. Okay, so if I'm already there, or if I'm ending with there, it's less movement. And that's important in bluegrass, because everything happens really fast in this style of music. Everything needs to be fluid. Everything needs to happen together. And so when you approach this with the mindset that less movement is going to be better for everything, your tone, the way it sounds, like how fluid and everything, it kind of works together, that's where you want to focus on, okay? So I could easily start off this one and just play using this G chord to start and finish. Just like that, okay? And that, overall is less movement. Now, the way I started it was with this chord, okay? And I'm ending it there. I can interchange those because I've been playing a while. But the idea here is with the first way, there's a little bit more movement. There's a little bit more, I wouldn't say awkwardness, but it's different from this one where you're just kind of dropping your hands and making the motion, all right? Okay, so let's talk about what you're doing with your right hand, okay? Everything on your right hand in bluegrass music, for the most part, you should be focusing on alternating your up and down picking pattern, okay? Now, other folks are gonna be like more, you have to always be focused on up and down. I say it as a general rule because there's always going to be exceptions. Always, always, always. And really, when you are picking up this music and when you really, really start listening and you really start putting in the practice time, you'll figure out that this is impossible to do if you're going down, 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 up, 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 in certain exercises or in certain licks or what have you. The faster that you speed up this music, the more your hand is going to be forced to make those decisions. And in my opinion, that's the best way to learn. Like I could sit here and throw you a tab up and put up, down, up, down, up, down, and bore you to death and really not let you learn the way that you should be learning, which again, this was created on the side of a mountain and we learn by watching each other. But just to put a visual on this, like think of the right hand hitting the mic as almost like a sideways metronome, okay? Or not the right hand, more the wrist motion here. And that's gonna go up and down, up and down, up and down, all right? And that's where you wanna focus. Watch my hand closely. All right. Okay? Now, like I said, it's going to be possible to hit this different ways and get the sound that you want, but ultimately, that's where you want to be. Up and down, up and down. You want to, limit the amount of movement that is required to get to the next sound. That's the way you want to approach this, all right? All right, and with any exercise, especially if we are in the key of G, if you're practicing it, once you get everything starting to feel good, once these notes are ringing out together, I suggest, or the way that I approach things, is that it's not done. I don't have it until I am 1000% confident. And all these notes are ringing out together and I can play it repetitively over and over again and get that same effect, okay? So that's the way that I approach it. That's the way I recommend playing. Otherwise, I hate going into like a bluegrass jam or trying a new lick when I'm practicing that I'm not pretty confident with, because I know in my experience it's not going to work out. So just like that, make sure that comes out nice and clean. And like I said, and the point I was getting to is always follow up with a G run. Whatever lick you're practicing in the key of G, follow up with playing a G run. Back into that G chord. Alright? Okay. Hope that helps, guys. If you are new to the channel, my name is Cody. I am focused here on this channel on beginner bluegrass guitar, beginner country guitar. I'm a geek for this sort of stuff. And so we're going to have gear reviews. You're going to see podcasts, some other content. I have just released an 11-hour full-on beginner bluegrass guitar course. I think that this is missing on the internet. A structured way to get going in this style of music that makes sense. It follows my teaching style here very closely. Only you're going to get on-screen tabs and a whole bunch of other goodies. Lifetime access. I do not believe in reoccurring monthly or yearly subscriptions, so it's a one-time purchase. And also, I'm here in East Tennessee, really following the footsteps of one of my idols, Dolly Parton. And so 5% of whatever I make here online or with this course sales or what have you, I'm giving 5% of that back to an organization at the end of the year called the Junior Appalachian Musicians. As ironic as it sounds here on the internet, I really think that the world is becoming a bit crazy because of how much we're dependent on technology. And so by giving the money back to this organization, I am hopefully helping kids learn. They teach in-person bluegrass lessons and really making that in-person connection with an instructor. As good as the internet is to us, I went to school for this music at East Tennessee State University in Johnson City, Tennessee, and I got to learn from some of the greats, and that really, helped change my life and steer me in a different direction musically, and I want to give back to that. And so 5% is going to that at the end of the year. $10 from each of these course sales between now and American Thanksgiving 2024 is going to the flood cleanup in Northeast Tennessee, close to where I learned this style of music, and Western North Carolina. So keep that in mind. There's links in the description if you want to start learning with me. There's some free tabs in there as well, and hope this lesson helped, folks. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.